And joining me now, former Arkansas governor, former presidential candidate, and Fox News contributor Mike Huckabee. Governor, thanks for joining us. So,
Merry Christmas, Lauren. Great to be with you.
Great to have you, especially as we discuss impeachment and now another article. What could this possibly be for? Bribery? I don't know. What say you?
Well, you know, the old rule is that when you're in a hole, rule one, quit digging. And the House just seems like they are determined to take their shovels and dig the hole they're in deeper and deeper. Hey, for Republicans, this is great news because already Americans are sick of this. They know what it is. It's a partisan political sham. They're aware of it. They're tired of it. They know that Congress isn't getting done. The things that really would help the American people. There's not one American family that'll join together for the Christmas dinner tomorrow who are benefited by impeaching the president over stuff that they can't even define. In fact, they talked about it 2 years ago, 2 years before the Ukraine phone call took place. So people aren't stupid. I think the House members are playing them for chumps, and it's backfiring.
Yeah, and is that why, I mean, Nancy Pelosi is just sitting on these articles, not sending them over to the Senate? But if this had such urgency, you would think she would deliver them right away, and then the Senate could get a fair trial going.
Well, you know, it's the equivalent of her sitting on an egg hoping it'll hatch. It's not. It's nothing. It will come from this. But the idea that all this time that she and the other House Democrats said it's urgent. We can't even go to the courts to get them to interpret whether the White House has to give up documents because this is too urgent to wait for the courts to rule. There's a clear and present danger, such a clear and present danger, that they all went over to the White House for the Christmas party and accepted the president's hospitality. Even somebody they didn't think should even be there. They went ahead and decided to agree to USMCA, which they should have done months ago because they knew how stupid it looked for them to be holding that up at the expense of American workers. Now, what she's thinking is going to happen now, the only thing I can say is that if you really want to look at a quid pro quo, here's one saying, we're not going to give you the impeachment articles in the Senate until you do what we say. That's a little constitutional aberration.
Governor, what advice would you give to Senator Mitch McConnell on this? Should he just say, we're going ahead with the trial, we'll appoint the managers if you don't, and just go ahead and set their own rules? They can do anything they want. What advice would you give him on this?
Mitch is playing this very smart, so I think he may not need my advice. But I think what he's doing is just saying, okay, Nancy, we're ready for you, but we're not going to let you come up with new witnesses. That's like after the prosecution has prosecuted the case and say we rest, and then come back the next day and say to the jury, well, we're not really resting quite yet. We have a few more things we want to throw in there. The judge is going to say, nonsense. You had your chance. You blew it. And so, you know, Mitch is ultimately going to lead toward an acquittal. This is ridiculous to even play the game.
The Wall Street Journal editorial board writes in a piece today saying the Senate has a duty, and that duty is to hold the trial as a check on the powers of the House. That's what the Founding Fathers wanted. Let's move on, though, Governor. The Christianity Today, the magazine controversy, 200 evangelical leaders signing a letter to the magazine's president after it published an article calling for President Trump's impeachment. Let's read you part of that letter. It says this: your editorial offensively questioned the spiritual integrity and Christian witness of tens of millions of believers who take seriously their civic and moral obligations. It not only targeted our president, it also targeted those of us who support him and have supported you. Governor, did you sign this letter?
I certainly did, gladly. And, you know, I think that the pushback to Christianity Today is going to make them Christianity Yesterday. What a dumb thing for them to do. They basically took the talking points of the DNC. They might as well have just had Adam Schiff write their press release for them and let him do the editorial, because it's one and the same. But here's what's offensive. They can say whatever they want to about the president. He's fair game, and he certainly can handle it. But when they disparage the 63 million people who voted for the president, including 81% of evangelicals in this country, they miss the point. Look, I'm an evangelical. I support the president. I want to make it very clear. I don't follow Donald Trump. I follow Jesus. I'm a Jesus follower. But in a course of being a citizen, I follow the candidate and or the elected official that most will mirror in his actions and policies those things which matter to me. Israel matters to me because I believe that the heritage of the Christian faith is rooted and grounded in the Jewish faith. I worship a person that we will celebrate tomorrow, Jesus, who was a Jew. I celebrate the fact that this is the most pro-life president in history. He believes that every human life has value and worth. He thinks that the captain of the football team is no more valuable than the kid with Down syndrome. Yeah. So he protects human life. I value that. I value the fact that this is a president who thinks that one of the great moral points of importance is for a family to have a job and be able to put their own bread on the table that they've worked hard to have. This is a president that's done more to put people to work. Yeah. I could go on and on, but here's the point. Governor, evangelicals don't support his personal life. Go ahead.
I was just asking, what was behind the magazine thing? Just publicity? Was the guy mad at the president because he didn't answer his mail? What's the matter here?
Well, you got to understand, this guy and the magazine itself have drifted so far left that they're basically social justice warriors. And so that they seem to think they understand evangelicals is nonsense. None of us who are evangelicals, and I know every one of the people who signed that letter, I know the people that you've seen photos of praying with the president. These aren't people who worship Trump, as some people have tried to say, or none of them even believe that Donald Trump could likely find John 3:16 in a Mark New Testament if you handed it to him. So we have no illusions that he is one of us. But this isn't about who we sit next to in the pew. This is about who in his leadership will lead to policies that affirm things like religious liberty that says get the government off the church's back and let preachers do their preaching without the government telling them what they can say. No president ever has been as true to religious liberty, the heart of the First Amendment, as President Trump. So does he have to be one of us? To be somebody who is supported by us? No. But it doesn't mean we blindly follow him. It just means that we appreciate that he doesn't try to keep us from following Jesus.